Greetings, people of the YouTube, it's Multiplier here, and this video is brought to you by Clip, this website here. What it allows you to do is get your tracks out into the universe for feedback and just general sharing, good vibes, etc. So, how easy is this? No account required. You go on the website, you hit upload, choose your track, boom, just like that, you have a thing on the internet that you can show people, get feedback, share your ideas, be creative, and just get in some sort of amazing community vibes, feedback, etc. Music on the internet, and there's a link too. So check that out. That is rad. It's called Clip, link below. Let's get into the video. That rhymed. Brilliant. Greetings, people of the YouTube. Again, it's Multiplier because I've already introduced myself in the sponsor advertisement bit at the beginning, but that's cool. You've already seen that. Let's get into the content of this video, which is how to get out of that creative block. It is one of the top 3 most asked questions I ever get asked. How do you get out of a creative writing block? You're trying to make a track, but you just get stuck and you get frustrated and you get annoyed. So how do you get out of this creative block? I have 3 ways to show you, or 3 ways to explain using words and stuff. So number 1 is limit your available samples you have to use in the track. So how many times has this happened to you? I reckon 1 million, just guessing. So you get all excited, you're like, yeah, let's make a track, let's make some dubstep or some fist bumping music, or I don't know, you're gonna make a track, and then you start off by choosing a kick drum. So you go, great, I'm hyped on making this tune, let's choose a kick drum. So let's start off with some dead mouse kicks from a sample pack. No, not that one. No. Oh, maybe that one. No, maybe that one. Rewind, no, fast forward 4 hours later and you're still choosing kick drums. You finally choose one, maybe it's from a different sample pack. Let's find my sample pack, this one. Maybe you finally find one, you go to choose a snare, you go back and choose another kick drum, because let's be honest, we have too many kick drums on our computer. And this applies to not just kick drums, but all sorts of drums and other sounds, synths, presets, everything. We have so much stuff on our computer that we get in this state of choice paralysis. It's a combination of choice paralysis and FOMO, fear of missing out. So I'm sure psychologists have a more technical term for it. But yeah, basically, you're worried that if you don't choose, or basically you're worried that if you don't go through all your kick drums, you might not have chosen the best kick drum possible for your track. And then you end up not really choosing any, and it's a nightmare. You spend 40 minutes literally choosing a kick drum and you haven't written a song. And then you go to choose a snare and it's a whole new situation of choice paralysis. So what I suggest you do if you get stuck in this creative writing block is, maybe if all your samples are on a hard drive, choose 1 sample pack or 2 sample packs and then put them on your computer, unplug your hard drive, and then go produce maybe somewhere else, or you've unplugged your hard drive. So get your hard drive, throw it in a river. Wait, back it up first. Unplug your hard drive, back it up, throw it in a river. Don't plug in your backup into your computer. Therefore, you've only got, say, 2 sample packs worth of samples to choose from, and all of a sudden you'll be able to get ideas going. It's a tried and tested thing in creativity, not just music, that if you limit your available options, you're going to be a lot more creative. It's like if I gave you 1 synthesizer, I guarantee you will be able to get that synthesizer to make a pad, a bass, a lead, a sound effect, a kick drum, a snare drum, a hi-hat, whatever, because you'll get creative with it. You'll figure out how that synthesizer works to create a hi-hat or to create a pad sound. Whereas if I give you the licenses to, say, 40 synthesizers, like the top 40 synthesizers from Loopmasters or Plugin Boutique or wherever, then chances are you're not really going to almost certainly ever dig into one of those synthesizers. You're just going to run through presets and get more choice paralysis. Whereas, yeah, if you limit your options available to you, you'll get creative and make something cool. Brilliant. That is idea number 1. Limit the available samples that you're allowed to use in your track, or limit the number of synthesizers that you're allowed to use in your track. Idea number 2 is a simple one. Idea number 2 is basically listen to new music. So go on SoundCloud, figure out what Skrillex is listening to, because let's be honest, everything revolves around Skrillex in the universe. Figure out what Skrillex is listening to, maybe even Diplo, maybe, just saying, Skrillex and Diplo. Listen to what they're listening to, etc. In fact, they do actually have SoundClouds, Diplo, Diplo approved and Skrillex selects. I'm getting distracted. Anyway, listen to new music and that will get you excited. You'll hear a bit of a bass line or maybe even a subgenre that you go, oh, cool, I've always wanted to make mega deep, super tribal core house step. And you'll go do that, which is cool. But yeah, basically just listen to new music and then that new music will get you excited because you'll hear something and you'll go, oh, wowzers, trousers, that is dope. Or you listen to something over here and you'll go, crikey, what is going on over there? I don't know, I want to make music. That's what will go through your brain. So listen to new music, go on SoundCloud, go on YouTube, or go out into the world. Now, don't do that. Just stay in your room, actually, probably safer. So stay in your room, listen to SoundCloud, listen to YouTube, listen to new stuff, see what other people are doing, and that you get your ideas flowing. And yeah, it's probably the way that I personally get out of my creative blocks the most is by using this technique of listening to new music. Sweetness. And finally, idea number 3, the way to get out of a creative block in music and stuff is to try a different workflow. So if, for example, you always do your drums like I do as audio files, you insert kick drums as audio clips, dragging them out, maybe drag a snare drum. Do I have any snares I can use? Snares, drums. So you're dragging them out. You make an amazing thing, but the crucial thing here is maybe you always do it with audio clips for whatever reason, like I tend to do. Then a way to get out of this creative block is to try a different workflow and force yourself into it. It will feel unnatural. It will be scary. Don't be too scared. It's not as scary as a spooky ghost, but it is pretty scary. You have to push through all the scariness and eventually you'll get out of your creative block. So instead of doing maybe audio clips like this, I could grab a drum rack and insert my drums into a drum rack. And then do all my drums as MIDI clips like this. Makes sense? And yeah, if you want to break it down to a hardcore serious level, the reason why this works is if you always do the same workflow every time, your brain will follow the same sort of pathway. So if whenever you want to do a bass, you go to massive or you go to serum and you always do it in the same way, you set up your polyphony or your monophony in the case of a bass, and then you set up the unison if you're doing a lead, or and then you go to this wavetable, you try this, you try that. You end up doing the same thing every time because you go down this same or very similar path. If you force yourself into, oh yeah, and by the way, that path has a load of dead ends because you've spent 2 years doing that particular path. If you then do something different and go off over here where it's dangerous and different and new and scary, then you'll end up with something new. So for me, it's a case of, yeah, trying out different workflows. Maybe force yourself into using a synth that you don't almost ever use. So for me, I could force myself to, instead of doing all my drums, say, as audio clips or even in a drum rack, I could force myself into using one of these cool analog drum machine things. I've got a few of them. Which one shall I choose? I think this is one. Yeah, so I got kind of like an analog drum machine here. I could force myself into using that, and then I could like twist all the buttons and basically get something popping out of here. Yeah, so I could get, I'm not actually listening, you might be able to tell because of the ears. I can't actually hear what's going on right now, but I assume this sounds amazing. You can press all these buttons. You can even figure out what the buttons do if you want or not. That again is entirely up to you. But crucially, oh, is it playing? Oh, it's playing everything now. What's going on? Right. Cool. It's fine again. So yeah, by forcing yourself into this different workflow, you're going to be more creative. It's just the nature of creativity. If you end up doing the same thing over and over again, you'll get bored. You get bored of trying out the same things. To get inspired, to get creative, remember, we're creating things. Try something different. Force yourself down the scary path where there's monsters and an uncertainty. But you can do it. I believe in you. And yeah, this would be one example of that. Or maybe if you always do your lead sounds in Serum or Massive, force yourself into using an obscure synthesizer like Oju Helix, which is rad, but really complicated and really idiosyncratic. Very, very idiosyncratic, but very powerful. So yeah, force yourself into using something new and scary. And that's when you can get some cool ideas popping out. Sweetness. So yeah, try different workflows. What other workflows could I recommend? Maybe just bounce stuff out to audio. So if you're doing like your drums or your synthesizers or whatever, try recording a live freestyle jazz experience by resample mode and that, and Ableton and pressing buttons, and then record it, warp it, flip it, reverse it, turn it upside down, turn it back the right way up, because upside down is always incorrect. And then, yeah, or maybe check this out as a bonus way to increase your creativity, get out of your creative block. What you could do is hop into preferences and change the look and feel. May sound trivial, but genuinely, this will change your whole approach to things. So you can change it to that or that, disco, or back to normal. Again, whatever you want to do. But yes, they are the 3 ways I suggest getting out of that creative block. And joking aside, genuinely, these 3 tips will get you out of any creative block. And if one of them doesn't, one of the other 2 will. So I'll summarize very quickly. What's the first one again? Oh yeah, limit your number of samples and synthesizers available to you. So limit it down a long way. Don't just ignore your favorite synth, but really limit your choice of available synthesizers and samples down to 1 or 2 sample packs, 1 or 2 synthesizers at a push, and that'll get you being creative. And then idea number 2 for getting out of a creative block is listen to new music. And then that new music will give you ideas, and you'll be like, wowzers trousers, that idea was dope. Let me do something similar. And then idea 3 was the one I just showed you, which was, oh yeah, try different workflows. Force yourself into that weird workflow that will feel scary, it will feel unnatural, and it won't feel right. But if you force yourself to do it, you'll end up being creative, and maybe you'll find a whole new thing, and it'll be rad, and that'll be cool. So yeah, that is it. An amazing video brought to you by Multiplier. In fact, the video was brought to you by Clip. Let me show you Clip again. Clip is the easiest way to share your ideas, share your work in progresses or whips with people, WIPs, WIPs. Share your ideas with people, get feedback, show your friends, show all the honeys, whomever you want to show, etc. Use this website because it is quick and easy, no account required, completely free, and it is rad. Check out a link below if you like the sound of it, or even if you don't, but you do. So check out the link below to Clip. Yeah.